Hi guys, it's me Ty here, and this is technically my third video on replacing the starter. So I'm going back together again. I got the starter all bolted in and everything. Now I just gotta go ahead and throw in the lower intake manifold and the air air box and the battery and stuff like that. So this is my first time doing this of replacing the starter, and this is at 235,000 miles on this 2008 Honda Fit, which from YouTube and all the comment section that I've read, that's about how many miles that your original starter goes before it fails on these. In mine, it was just I don't know. I'd stop in at the gas station, shut off the car, run in, and come back out, and I'd turn the key, and it didn't do anything, and I turned the key back off, and it would start. So that's what was telling me that the starter was bad. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, this is a horrible job. This is not fun, and there is no direct way of some cookie cutter way of getting the starter replaced on these. So, because you need, like with this here, you better own at least 3 feet of extensions of 1/4 inch drive, 3 feet of extensions of 3/8 drive, and 3 feet of extensions for a 1/2 inch drive. And you probably better have two wobbles. Where are they? In every one of those. Here they are. Just go to Walmart and buy these, you guys. These wobble adapters so yeah, or you can just stick them on your 3/8 drive ratchet. So this is a 3/8 one. Get a 1/4 inch drive one, and then also get a 1/2 inch drive one, and then you are also going to want adapters. I'm talking all of them to adapt these, like these right here. These are adapters. You know, like this one's a 3/8 up to a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/4 inch up to a 3/8. Get that set at Harbor Freight or Walmart too, because I had to use that quite a bit too. So, at first it didn't appear to me that, like, I read the Honda service manual because I have that, and it said go ahead and pull the oil filter off and pull the dipstick out. And it didn't seem like I had more room, but I really did. So go ahead and remove your engine oil filter right away and your dipstick tube. And how I got the dipstick tube out was, it was just a bolt up here. I'm not even sure. Oh, yeah, this is where your dipstick tube bolts to, right there. I think it's just a little 10mm bolt that goes in there, and it's secure. And then the dipstick, it's got an O-ring on it and a little lip or whatever, and I couldn't really get underneath the lip or whatever, and I had to come in from the bottom. And how I did it is, mine actually, as soon as I unbolted it, I was just able to kind of like He-Man that dipstick of wobbling it back and forth, and it got loose. And up from the top, it almost felt like I was pulling it, and maybe I got maybe a 1/16 of an inch out of it just by wobbling it back, or twisting it back and forth and pulling just super hard. And I tried getting this pry bar underneath that little lip at the base of it where it goes in the engine block, and that didn't really work too well, but I went ahead and I got it right up to there, and I took this 3-pound rubber dead blow hammer and I hit it, and I started hitting it just super hard, and then finally it went flying out of there. I gave it some force. So yeah, like, and then me, I always do everything in order of how I take it off. So there's the engine oil dipstick, and the bolt that holds it in, and the oil filter. There's the lower intake manifold, some bolts for it, then the gasket, more bolts for it, and the brackets that hold the upper and lower intake manifolds together, the air cleaner box, and then the battery, and then of course the beauty cover, engine cover with its bolts. But in that starter, once I actually got to that, so yeah, go ahead and remove those, the dipstick tube and the oil filter right away. Then you're going to come in from this side on the bottom, and you got to remove the 17mm bolt, which is the lower bolt on the starter. And then up here, you got your upper bolt for the starter, which is a 14mm. And with that one, in that other video they have, you guys, called removing the starter or replace the starter on a 2008 Honda Fit, I showed you what all extensions and wobble and what all I did and how I routed them to break that bolt loose. And then after that, I had to get the signal wire off of the starter. And well, first of all I took off the power wire once I actually got down to that, the intake manifold. But that signal wire, I did not remove that until I had both of those bolts all the way out that secure the starter in, and was able to make myself a little bit more room. Then I went in from the bottom and I stuck my camera up there and I took a picture of where the tab is on that signal wire, because it didn't feel like there was a tab there of what I was supposed to press in, and didn't then I saw it and I went ahead and how did I do that? Oh, I came in from the top here. I was pressing with my finger on it as hard as I could, and then I was prying up against where the sensor goes into the starter, and I was able to pry it out of there. And you might have to work it back and forth just to make sure you didn't have too much force on it, but I got that pried out of there. And then the starter did not want to move. With this being an aluminum engine, there was a chemical reaction, and it's like press fit in there, the starter is. So it was just seized in there. So I took a pry bar up on the top, kind of got onto one of the ears of it, and I was able to free it up on the top, but it was fully seized on the bottom. And I took a pry bar down there, and I was able to break that loose then. And then it just kind of wanted to wobble back and forth. So I took that 3-pound rubber mallet there and the bottom, and I would hit it from the bottom. And then up on the top here, I would take the pry bar and I pry on it. And sometimes I use the pry bar on the bottom as well, but the mallet only fits in the bottom for knocking it back and forth. And I did that many times. And then I would just do little tiny hits on the top, little tiny hits on the bottom, trying to walk it in and out. And that worked, and I was able to get it out of there then. It started to go, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh shoot, the oil pressure sensor, which is way down there, a little gray one there, but you guys can't see, it's too dark or whatever. But I had to unplug that then, and I had to take a 24mm deep well impact socket in 1/2-inch drive, and I got that on there. And then you can stick your 1/2-inch drive ratchet on there, and it's tough to get it, but you got to push the ratchet onto the socket then, because there isn't enough room for you to put the ratchet with the socket already on it. And I was able to break that sensor loose, took that out of there. And then I was able to just slide the starter right out. And like I said, without the oil filter in there, then I had plenty of room to do that. And then I also did have to disconnect this coolant temperature sensor here. And when you disconnect it, it actually looks like a block heater is what it actually looks like. And I don't know where it leads to or whatever, but that's what the connection looks like. And I did not have to take that sensor out or whatever, but and then also right here, yep, you see this little white tab here? I did have to pry that out with a side cutters, and then because that has a full wiring harness that has the signal wire for the starter. It has this sensor right here on it, and then it also has another sensor, like 3 of them on there, and that gave me a lot of room by getting that entire wiring harness pulled out of the way when I was trying to get that starter out. So like I said, now it's just hook up the positive battery cable here with this rubber boot on it, and then hook this sensor up here and just start putting it back together. Oh, and another thing, anti-seize the heck out of everything. Like I said, with this being an aluminum engine, there's gonna be so much chemical reaction corrosion that you guys definitely don't want to fight this ever again if you guys plan on keeping these cars again, because you're going to go through how many starters in your life with these. So you definitely anti-seize every little bolt, every little screw. Like I said, I went ahead and I sanded out the inside of the starter housing on the engine block with Scotch-Brite pads and with emery cloth sandpaper. And then I went ahead and I pasted anti-seize on the inside of there, and on the inside of the bore, and on the outside where the ears and everything stick onto there. I just want everything to freely come apart next time I replace a starter here. So it might be a good idea for you guys to actually buy a Honda starter with how terrible this job is, but I don't know, I'm cheap, so I'll probably just keep buying these starters that are brand new under $50 on eBay. So, all right, if you guys like this content, like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, this is it's going to take 3 videos for you guys to see how to do this. The first one of how to go to how to replace your PCV valve on my channel. Like I said, that'll show you how to remove the battery, the air cleaner, and then the intake manifold. And then my other video is just called how to replace your starter, and that shows all the extensions. And then this video here, I'll probably replace or call it also how to replace your starter or something like that. So, all right, just type in that when you're searching. So if you guys like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll just keep kicking out these money-saving videos for you guys, and everything about repairing Honda fits. All right, take care.